always confused as to like who done it, but I'm not usually confused as to who done what. I have some major predictions. I don't know if Agatha Christie is stringing me along and I'm supposed to be believing or thinking these things right now. Hey guys, welcome to another video where I try to solve an Agatha Christie mystery. It's been quite a while since I tried to solve one. I have been doing this Agatha Christie book club with my patrons where we are reading an Agatha Christie each month. And I'm doing a vlog kind of as I'm reading the book, sharing some thoughts. Most of the ones we've read this year have not been solvable until the month of July. I didn't realize going in that it would be, so I didn't intentionally film thinking I was going to be able to solve it. Not saying that I did, but like I didn't realize that it would be able to be solved. So I have a very long video on Patreon. I think it's 40 minutes. I'm going to mash it up here for you into a much smaller video in case you are interested in seeing some of my thought process. If you guys enjoy this, I have a bunch of other videos on here sharing me trying to solve Agatha Christie's mysteries as well. I have a ton of longer versions over on Patreon. So let's get in. I haven't even mentioned, I was reading Nemesis. Let's get into Nemesis and my thoughts on it as I read through. I started Nemesis. I'm on chapter 4. So I read the first 3 chapters to get an idea what was going on. Mine has 2 books in it and it has an illustration before each one. This is the one for Nemesis. Pretty spectacular. Although to be fair, I actually like the one for the other book better because it's Miss Marple knitting. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So I had a note in my book that said, read A Caribbean Mystery first, Charlene says. And I do what Charlene says. So we read that one in February, I think. Most of Agatha Christie's books, you don't need to read them in order. Like the Tommy and Tuppence series, I think that's 5 or 6 books. Those are best read in order because they grow majorly through that series. And then there's these 2 books, and I don't remember any other ones being so linked. Yeah, if you haven't read that one, A Caribbean Mystery, definitely go read that one first. The backstory is in A Caribbean Mystery. So I actually forget his name now. This Mr. Raphael, he has given her this mystery to solve and given her no information on the mystery. So I don't know how one solves a mystery like this. I'm very curious to see where this is going. I've marked a few things I've enjoyed. This has just been a fun time so far. I'm curious to see where things are gonna go. I am old, said Miss Marple. Elderly, we say, but old is a better word. Definitely old. Love it. I love it when people just own whatever it is that they are. Okay, and then there's the word nemesis. I don't remember if that was in A Caribbean Mystery. Like, is that something I'm supposed to remember from there? I don't remember it. And then where we left Miss Marple, she is endeavoring to meet someone by accident and make it seem purely natural. Not really very easy, but I hope I can manage it. There's not much to report right now. I've started it, don't know where it's going. I think the lady that she met in the village that is living with Miss Hastings, Miss Hastings, and then there's like a Miss Bartlett. I don't remember the names. They probably have something to do with it, I'm guessing, but I don't know. We will see. It's so interesting to be reading this story and like not knowing what the mystery is, like being with Miss Marple. She's trying to figure out what the mystery is. I feel like Agatha Christie is on fire in this book. I have tabbed so many things. Mostly just things I'm enjoying about the book. I have no idea what the mystery is yet. I'm on page 82. This actually is giving me Mrs. Polifax vibes, I'm just realizing right now. Because she often doesn't really know what she's doing, and she just, like, she often doesn't get told, go here, do this, do this, do this. She kind of just needs to be aware of her surroundings and meeting different people and different things. And it's just giving me those vibes. I don't know, I'm enjoying it. So let's see, what has happened since? So we were at chapter 4. We met Esther Walters. She did endeavor to meet someone by accident and make it seem purely natural. As of right now, Miss Marple doesn't think that there was anything there. Like, Esther knew nothing. She got married, got rich from the money that this man had given her. I loved that she was fluttering a little in the restless manner that she adopted when slightly flustered, or at any rate when she was seeming to be slightly flustered. She's just a little con artist. I enjoy her so much. And then there's been a few different mentions of something to this effect. It was true that you could much more easily send an elderly lady with a habit of snooping and being inquisitive, of talking too much, of wanting to find out things, and it would seem perfectly natural. So this, you know, gives me hopes that in my older years, I could still become like a spy or a detective or something of the sort. There's hope, because little old ladies are so under the radar. I mean, it probably doesn't help if I have a YouTube channel and I keep mentioning this all over the place, but maybe I'll delete those videos before I become a spy or a detective. Chapter 5, Miss Marple got a note in the mail that she was going to receive another letter. And then the letter says that she's supposed to go on this tour of the famous houses and gardens of Great Britain. So there's a bunch of people on this tour. Bushy eyebrows turned out to be Professor Wanstead. Like, another thing. Like, do I want to be known as bushy eyebrows? Not so much. There was another thing about bushy eyebrows. This made me laugh out loud. She had a dream. One where Professor Wanstead's bushy eyebrows fell off because they were not his own eyebrows, but false ones. And she woke again. Her first impression was that which so often follows dreams. A belief that the dream in question had solved everything. Of course, she thought, of course. His eyebrows were false, and that solved the whole thing. He was the criminal. I have so many dreams every single night, and I remember a lot of them. And yes, I have like those moments too where it's like, of course, everything in my life makes sense now because of this thing. And then like it turns out that thing is, you know, not real. It's the false eyebrows. I loved that. So she finally realizes that Mrs. Cook is the lady that she met in her garden when she was still at St. Mary's Mead before all of this. So Mrs. Cook is the lady that was with Mrs. Hastings back in St. Mary's Mead or around there. But she said her name was Miss Bartlett. So she's going by a different name and has dyed her hair. I don't know what this whole Mrs. Cook thing is going to be. She's suspicious for sure. But is it anything? Now I'm like, it's too obvious, so it's probably not her. Because these things get in your head. So she's kind of analyzing the sisters here at the end and notices that there's a melancholy in the house. There's a sorrow that has impregnated the house. It's sunk in, and she shivered. Nice little gothic vibes there. No idea what the mystery is. No idea where this is going. But I'm loving the writing. So we'll keep going. See if we ever figure anything out. I've been here reading, got up to chapter 11, and we start out with this plant, this vine. The chapter, I'm not even going to try to pronounce what this vine is called. The chapter is that name. And so I looked it up on my phone because I thought maybe it had some poisoning capabilities. Like what's with this vine that has overtaken this greenhouse? It turns out it's just really well known for being very good at vining. And so I feel like the greenhouse where this vine has become very overrun is hiding something. The lady that took Miss Marple on her little tour of the yard kind of, it said like felt like she was trying to prod her along. And Thea, it says, it was, thought Miss Marple, as though she were deliberately being steered away from the polygonum mound by her hostess. Steered away as from some ugly or displeasing spot. I feel like maybe there's more to it than that, or maybe that's just trying to throw me off. I don't know. And then there's this whole thing with this murder of this girl that was engaged to this Mr. Raphael's son, but this girl was a like a ward or something of one of these ladies, but it doesn't seem like these ladies know who he was because they're kind of friends with Mr. Raphael. But they don't seem to know that his son is the man that was engaged to this girl or something. I'm a little bit confused as to what's going on here right now. To me, that seems like, oh, maybe Mr. Raphael's trying to clear his son's name and he wants Miss Marple to do that. But she kind of doesn't seem to think that this is the purpose of the trip. Was she on the right track now? Things were connecting, but the connections were far from clear. So I don't really know what's happening still. Is this the mystery? Is there a different mystery? I don't know. My plan for this evening is to host reading sprints. I've been meaning to do them on a regular basis and I haven't. So starting that tonight, I'm gonna read as much of this as I can during those sprints up until the point where I feel like I need to update you guys. And then I'll move on to a different book from there. It's interesting because I'm always confused as to like who done it, but I'm not usually confused as to who done what. Now it's like, what have they done and who done it? I read a bunch of Nemesis last night during my reading sprints. Lots of stuff happened. So the first thing that happened, there was an accident and somebody rolled a boulder down a cliff onto Miss Temple, I think, and Miss Marple kind of gets introduced to Mr. Eyebrows. What's his actual name? Professor Wanstead. I just think about the eyebrow dream. That was hilarious and funny that he's the one that she kind of connects with. So he knew Mr. Raphael and knows a bit about this case. And then she was telling Mr. Eyebrows about Miss Cook slash, I forget what her other name was. Her, the lady that has a different color hair. Okay, so then Miss Marple goes to sit in the room of Elizabeth Temple. Miss Temple wakes up for a little bit and mentions Henry Clithering, who is a mutual friend of theirs, which they didn't know. And also she mentions another girl that died. There's a few girls that have died in this area. Verity Hunt. And I think that Elizabeth wants her to look into that case. So I'm on page 145, have about 100 pages left, 105 pages left in my edition. My hope is to finish this today. I did some reading after we got back from the mall. I'm really distracted right now because I can see 4 or 5. I can't tell if that's one. Fire trucks outside my window, some of which have their lights on and I don't see that anything's happening. But I get nosy, so I want to know. I wish there was like a place that reported all the calls so I knew what people were going out to. I am such a Miss Marple. Yes. Okay. So I have some major predictions. I don't know if Agatha Christie is stringing me along and I'm supposed to be believing or thinking these things right now, or am I just smart? Who knows? So probably she's stringing me along. No update on what's going on out there. They're just parked on the street. Also, it's really windy. I'm not sure if that's going through. Anyway, I will go through this methodically through my last tabs. Okay, so one of the sisters, the one that had been married, finally tells Miss Marple the story about Verity and Michael and all the stuff she already knew, but she pretended she didn't. She like so casually dropped the name Verity in their conversation, and being like, oh, I didn't realize that was a sore spot. She totally knew. So she's nosing around getting brighter as I talk. And she's talking to like the lady at the clothing store or some kind of store, I think, at this point. And she was asking about the sisters. And it turns out the Miss Anthea, the lady says, funnily enough, you know, I thought she had a kind of pleased look. This is when the other sister went to go identify the body and stuff, as though she was, yes, just pleased. She says, farmer plumber's daughter used to look like that. Always used to go and see pigs killed. Enjoyed it. So I'm wondering, well, do I want to jump to my conclusions here yet? No, I'm gonna wait a little bit. What else? Miss Marple is looking into, nosing around about Nora Broad. She is another girl that went missing at about the same time as Verity, but her body was never found. Now, that's where I'm at. My suspicions at this point is that Anthea is the killer, not these boys that they keep mentioning. Not this Michael guy, probably. I mean, he sounds like he was really sketchy, but I think Anthea has been killing the girls. She's jealous, maybe, because Nora is also another person that Anthea's sister kind of took under her wing. And I don't know if she's jealous of the attention or what it is. And I think because Nora's body's never been found, I'm assuming it's underneath all of that vine stuff in the tumbled down greenhouse. I feel like seems like a good idea, seems like that could be true, but maybe it's too obvious and that's not true. Okay, chapter 20, and we're back with the three sisters. Mrs. Glenn maybe has no particular emotions or feelings, perhaps too devoid of them. I don't think it's her. Clotilde, she's the one that Miss Marple said could have murdered her husband, but unlikely that she could have murdered this girl who she's very fond of. But if this girl was going to leave her, would she murder her then? I don't know, I'm starting to get more suspicious of her. And Thea, still don't really know how to pronounce that, is she too scatty? Is she so scatty that she's the obvious person that it's not her? Oh, I'm in my head. I feel like it's not the one that had been married. I don't even know if she was around then. Was she around then when the murder happened? I don't know. I don't think it's her. I feel like it would have been her, but maybe it's her to throw us off. Jealousy? Because she was going to leave? I don't know. Okay, this definitely makes me very suspicious of Anthea. Talks about how she's very jealous at times, and if the other sister was taking an interest in this younger girl, taking her in kind of as her own, could she have done something because she was jealous? That's what I'm leaning towards. But then what about these other ladies, this Miss Cook and Miss Barrow that went and checked on Miss Marple before? I'm confused as to how they would play into it. Okay, it's pretty much saying what I'm thinking, but there's still like 40 pages left. I feel like this is too early in the book, and now I'm overthinking everything. Okay, I keep flipping back and forth. Now, Anthea wants to build up that greenhouse again, and I forget how to pronounce her name, Clotilde? She doesn't want it touched. So I think their body is there, of this Nora girl. So then in my thought, the person who doesn't want it changed is probably the one that hid a body there. Why would she though? And why this Nora person? I don't have answers. I have ideas that don't make any sense. And now is the coffee spiked too? Oh my goodness, so much is happening, or I'm just reading so much into nothing. Okay, I think it's starting to come together. I'm still confused on some things, but she was definitely trying to drug Miss Marple. Okay, here's a twist I didn't expect. That it's Verity in the garden greenhouse thing. She was drugged, and then it was probably this Nora person that they identified saying it was Verity. Okay, finished it. I'm sorry if you guys can hear the rain. I don't know, am I sorry? I've been waiting for rain for a long time, but it's rainy and windy. The high today, the warmest that I saw it, was 14 degrees. And like the days previous, the weeks previous, it's been like 34. So we dropped 20 degrees Celsius in like 24 hours. Anyway, okay, so I was updating near the end, so I was kind of sharing some thoughts as I went. What do I have to say? I don't know what else I have to say. I was seeing things kind of, you know, as they were coming. I really enjoyed the story. I gave it 5 stars. I kind of liked being with Miss Marple and trying to figure out like, what is the mystery? And I thought Miss Marple was just on fire. Like, and some of these are clues, some of these are things I like, whatever. But I have so many tabs. This was just a very immersive experience for me compared to some of her books. I love that we were with Miss Marple so much. Sometimes I feel like she's very background, and she wasn't in this one. So really enjoyed it. I don't think I have anything really to say about the ending. For me, the whole plot, the whole idea behind these is trying to figure out like who done it, whatever the mystery is. Obviously there's more to it than that. There's more I enjoy. But I was sharing some reactions as I went. As always, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the story. Did you see what was coming? Were you surprised by anything? You know, just talk about it all.